How's it going, folks? I'm Cody Campbell with High Ground Gaming. Today we are unboxing and reviewing the HyperX Cloud Stinger 2 headset. I'm going to start by walking you through the specs, then we'll open it up. I'll let you take a look at what comes with it. After that, we'll go to the review portion where I'll give you my thoughts on it, and then we'll go to High Ground Gaming's final score. Stick around. So the Cloud Stinger 2 is a wired over-ear headset with 50mm drivers. It has a frequency response of 10 Hz to 28 kHz and an impedance of 32 ohms. It also has DTS-X Headphone X spatial audio, which is really good for gaming since it can give you a little bit more directionality in terms of where sounds are coming from. And they have ear cups that are memory foam coated in leatherette. Finally, it has a noise-canceling bi-directional microphone. That's about it for the specs, though. Let's open it up. Inside the box looks pretty basic. We have our paperwork here, quick start guide, some HyperX propaganda, DTS Headphone X information. Then there's just three things inside. We've got the headset itself, we've got a pop filter for the microphone, and then we've got a splitter here, a 3.5mm splitter. Some plastic on here. So the design is pretty nice. It's got rotating ear cups, which is interesting. This is something that people have been asking HyperX to do on a lot of their headsets for a while. So it's interesting that they start with one of their lower end headsets. On the side, we've got some adjustability here, and it looks like it's sort of marked so you can tell where it goes. If you want like exactly 50mm or whatever this is on one side, you can match it on the other so that you know that they're perfectly even. Right off the bat though, I do have to say they're very lightweight, which can be good, but these, you can see they're a little wobbly. They're already feeling a little cheap. This just sort of free spins. There's not a lot of tension in here at all. Likewise, this I feel moves a little too easily. It's gonna be zipping around on you. It's not really gonna hold in place at all. Also on the inside here, this is padded right at the top, but the sides aren't. You got some hard plastic on the edges of the headband here. So let's try it on. So for me, those hard edges aren't really touching my head. So that's not really a big deal, but I could see how certain people with certain shaped heads, that could be an issue. You really don't want that hard plastic pressing into your head. There's a reason they pad these. I'm not really sure why HyperX didn't pad this part, but I have a pretty large head. It's not touching my head for me, so maybe it won't be an issue for most people. Looks like the microphone just sort of locks down. There's a clicking happening as I'm doing this. It clicks when it goes up and it clicks when it goes down. We'll have to see, that might be a muting mechanism that's going on, so it might mute when you put it up, which would be good. And so that's what it looks like with the pop filter on it. I know pop filters don't look the prettiest, but they do stop those plosives from coming through, so it is nice to have one. So first impressions of these is that they're just okay. The lightweight is kind of nice for if you want to wear these for long periods of time. They're not going to fatigue your head too much. You definitely don't want a big heavy headset. But at the same time, like I mentioned, all these plastic components feel very cheap, very janky. They don't really hold their place at all. They're a little too loose in my opinion. The ear cups are comfortable though, and the mic holds its position well, and it does have a good range of adjustability. So I do feel like it's gonna fit a lot of different size heads, and it could be very comfortable for some people. That's about all I can tell just from looking at it though. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it into my PC, I'll play some games with it, and we'll be right back with the review section. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so I've spent some time with the HyperX Cloud Stinger 2s, and I'm ready to talk about them, but first, real quick, like and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, I'm gonna start off like I usually do by talking about the build quality, which honestly was probably my least favorite thing about the headset. First of all, some design stuff, definitely an improvement over the original Stinger. The original Stinger kind of had that super heavy look, like a NASCAR announcer headset sort of thing. These are much sleeker, much nicer looking in general. I think some of the design choices that HyperX made were really good. That said, as I talked about in the unboxing, the joints and a lot of the other stuff in this just don't feel very high quality. As you can see, they just sort of free spin as you turn them. They don't really hold their position at all. And the extension in the headband, it just slides out of place, which is kind of annoying. So you know how there's those numbers on the side where you can set it? Say I want it set to 25 on each side, then I put it on, I wear it, I use it, you know, I play some games, I take it off and it slides out of place. I set it down and it slides out of place. And then you're just constantly adjusting it. So not the biggest deal in the world, but it's an annoyance that I feel like a lot of people are going to be dealing with. That said, when you're actually wearing them, they're pretty comfortable. You get them on and they're light and they don't clamp your head too much. They're secure without feeling tight, and they're just comfortable to wear for long gaming sessions, which is really important. But now let's dive into sound quality. I tested these out by playing some Metal Hellsinger. The way that game works is you've got this heavy metal soundtrack playing during the game, and you're actually supposed to match your shots to the rhythm of the songs. There's some decent sound dampening going on. You can definitely tell when people are talking in the room with you, but it is muffled and it's not super loud or distracting or anything like that. The low, mid, and high tones are all pretty well balanced, and there's also a very airy, sort of roomy feel to the audio. It's very bright and crisp as well. The only downside is it is a little, for lack of a better word, hollow sounding. It's very slight, but it feels like while all the signals are very well balanced, none of them are particularly strong, if that makes sense. Still, for a budget headset, I think the audio in these is pretty much as good as anything you're going to find. It also has the DTS Headphone X for PC that does not work with consoles. So if you're using these for consoles, you are not going to be able to take advantage of this. But if you have a PC, there's a code, you can activate it, and it creates a sort of digital surround sound that's really useful for games like Valorant or Apex Legends, you know, FPS shooters, stuff like that, where you're gonna wanna hear the footsteps of your enemies and you're gonna wanna know exactly what direction they're coming from. It's really useful for things like that. Other games, not so much. It's not super important, but it's a nice touch. Now let's talk about the microphone quality. The microphone on this is got a adjustable, bendable arm, and it actually holds its shape pretty well. You can stick it in pretty much any position you want to, and it just stays there first try, which is always nice. Here's a quick clip of what it sounds like. All right, here's an audio test for the HyperX Cloud Stinger 2. As you can see, this is the flip. So the flip to mute totally works. You can tell the voice is maybe a little bit on the tinny side, but overall I think it's pretty clear. Here's what it sounds like when I speak really loud, and here's what it sounds like when I speak really softly. So it's a little tinny and it's a little weak in the low end, but honestly, that's pretty typical of headset mics. You're unlikely to find a headset mic that sounds much better than this, especially in this price category. So I think it's pretty good. I didn't really have any feedback issues or buzzing or anything like that. And once I got it dialed in with my PC software, I didn't have any issues with clipping or anything like that either. That's about it for the specs though. Let's get down to the verdict. So the Cloud Stinger 2 MSRPs at $49.99. That's in roughly the same price bracket as the Logitech 335 and the Astro A10. That's a tricky place to be. There's a lot of competition there. What's even worse is right now you can find the HyperX Cloud 2s and the HyperX Cloud Alphas for only $10 more. Those are going for about 60 bucks on Amazon right now. And that makes these hard to recommend. So we decided to give it a 3.5 out of 5, which is a little disappointing. The audio and the microphone aren't poorly engineered. They're also comfortable to wear. So from a strictly utilitarian point of view, this is a good headset. It's just the poor build quality makes it kind of a hard sell, especially when there's so many other ones in the same price category that are just as good, or for just $10 more, you can get the Cloud 2 or the Cloud Alpha, which are pretty much better in every way. I don't want to be the elitist reviewer who's telling you to buy the more expensive thing, but honestly, when it's only a matter of $10, I definitely think it's worth it to go for the better option. That said, this is the MSRP price for these, so if these go down to $30 in the next few months, then I think they're a pretty solid option. Why don't you go ahead and drop down into the comments and let me know what you think though. What price do you think would be a good place for these to sell, and when would you be willing to buy them? While you're at it, go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got a lot more content coming real soon, and I'd hate for you to miss any of it. All right, folks, thanks for watching. Happy gaming.